Hi there, come on in. It's time for our 1991 Fish and Wild Game Cook-Off. This is a 1-hour special we do every March during the PBS Fundraising Festival. I hope you'll see fit to go to your phone sometime during the next hour. Call that number at the bottom of your screen at your local public TV station. Make a pledge. Tell them hunting and fishing for food is something you want to see continue on public TV. We have 5 categories of recipes: dips and appetizers, chowder soups and stews, fish, small game, and venison. All this coming your way in the cook-off, so stay tuned. I'm often asked, what is hunting and fishing all about anyway? You know, people talk about sport fishing and sport hunting. Well, sport is just a small aspect of hunting and fishing. It refers to the challenge or the accomplishment of bringing home fish and game. But hunting and fishing are much more than sports. In a broad sense, they're food-gathering activities. That's the only reason a sportsman pulls the trigger on game or kills a fish and puts it in the ice chest. He wants to bring it home to eat it. Now, we can always hunt for sport with a camera, but when we want to bring home food for the table, we take a gun, and that's what tonight is all about. Our cook-off took place at Coyle's Restaurant in Houghton Lake. John McKenzie, the head chef at Coyle's, is one of our 5 distinguished judges, along with Pat McGuire, proprietor of Papa Bear's in Luzerne, a popular local restaurant. Our 3rd judge is Chef Mike Castelloot, the certified executive chef at the very classy Masters Restaurant in Madison Heights. Judge number 4 is Mike's dad, Paul Castelloot, who won this judgeship in a raffle at our Wild Game Dinner last April. Our undisputed dean of judges is none other than Bob Garner, whose eating skills are only surpassed by his wit. Let's lead off this culinary adventure with dips and appetizers, where venison finger rolls squares off against smoked turkey roulades. Now, these venison finger rolls are an oriental adaptation to a recipe that contains, listen to this, cabbage and peanut butter, a sauce that combines vinegar and 2 different jams. It's an unusual sounding concoction for a wild game recipe, but its originator, Bob Perkins from Owasso, said it didn't start out with venison.
Actually, I tried it with squirrel to start with, but that didn't turn out too good, so I threw venison in it, and it turned out the way it did.
What's the deal on the peanut butter?
The peanut butter is something that actually does go into an egg roll. What it does, it not only enhances the flavor, but it also sticks everything together when it's fried. That way it doesn't totally fall apart.
And the sauce, how important is the sauce to your dish?
That sauce that's really the highlight that I look at, for the simple reason it really sets the internal flavor out.
Competing with the Oriental theme is smoked turkey roulades, a dish that contains curry from India, Italian tomatoes, Mexican flour tortillas. It's an appetizer that really looks appetizing because you can see all the ingredients. A very neat finger food prepared by Lucy Banker from Waterford, who says she has a lot of fun with this recipe.
Where did you come up with this Far East and the tortillas? Huh?
Well, I saw something kind of similar to it in a magazine a long time ago, but they used lavash, which is an Armenian cracker bread. But a lot of people can't find Armenian cracker bread, so I tried the tortilla.
What kind of meat have you used in this?
Mostly just smoked turkey. I've used regular turkey, chicken, mostly poultry.
And wild game.
Oh, yeah.
Put in there,
oh, yeah.
so.
Good.
Couple of crazy recipes. I'll tell you, but excellent. Far East and tortillas and egg rolls. You want to find out how the judges
Sure.
judges did this? Okay, going to be interesting.
The sauce really made the venison finger roll, but I have to go with the smoked turkey roulade. The recipe is very complex, but it's simple to prepare. You can make it ahead of time. It'll hold up well, and it's very healthy for you. A lot of fresh ingredients. Nothing's fried. The chutney there is fantastic. So I have to go with the smoked turkey.
Holy cow. What a testimonial to that recipe. Pat McGuire, are you going to go along with your old buddy?
I don't know if he's my old buddy anymore, but, you know, when Robert brought his out, I thought, boy, this is great, and how am I going to, get through another appetizer without even giving it a fair chance? Because I liked those, but I tell you, I'm going to have to go with Mike.
Are you kidding me?
No, that's great. I disagree with Mike. I don't think it's very complex at all. I think a kid could make that, and that's what's so great about it. It's great. That's a Monday Night Football. That's it.
Okay, well, thank you, Pat McGuire. Now, Bob Garner, you've always been a spoiler when it comes to favorite recipes.
Yeah, I guess I have, but I'll tell you what, I like this category because you don't have utensils to get in the way. You know, you just basically no fork or anything, grab your hands and go for it. And I'll tell you, these are two remarkably good recipes, but there's a certain freshness and a taste that you don't get necessarily in the rolls, like the egg roll type of thing that you do with the recipe, the smoked turkey roulades. It's just phenomenal. I don't think we've had anything like it in the appetizer category before, and I have to say that's the winner this time.
Holy cow. Let's just see if we have any dissenters down here between John McKenzie and Paul Kestelut.
I want to thank Bob for taking the pressure off. These are both winners, in my opinion. But I went with the group with smoked turkey.
Is that right?
It just had such a combination of flavors, the spinach, the alfalfa sprout, the cucumber and tomato, all put together in that sauce. I'm not exactly sure what it was. It was puzzling me, but it was really good.
Paul, you're our tiebreaker.
Oh, okay. Well, first let me say, if the rest of the meals, the rest of the recipes are as good as this, we're in for a delicious evening.
I guess so.
I like them both very much. I'm going with the venison finger rolls. They were great, delicious.
How about that? You're not doing that just to make Bob feel better.
No, they were
You
both
liked them.
good. I
I'll
liked
be
them.
darned. Well, it's 4-1. How about a little round of applause for our contestants here? Well, golly, Bob, that's what you were worried about.
Oh, well, next year I'll be back.
But I tell you, that was a tremendous recipe, both of you. Congratulations
Thank you
to you
very
both,
much.
Lucy.
It's a pleasure.
I mean, you're both
Thank you.
winners. Let me tell you.
Well, we don't have any losers in this contest. The finalists are all top drawer recipes. Every year it seems the judging gets tougher and tougher. I'm sure our next category will be another judging nightmare. It's chowders, soups, and stews. We have a repeat winner, Barbara Conklin from Fairborn, Ohio, pitting her home-style pheasant cheese soup against John Dubrow's Beau Camp venison stew. Now, Barbara has an inside track. She's been a finalist twice before with pheasant recipes. Her husband supplies the pheasants, and she's learned how not only to put together a dish that appeals to the taste, but one that also appeals to the eye. But first and foremost in Barbara's mind is the flavor, and the first taste test is always done with her husband.
So what's the story behind this soup?
Well, my husband's not real keen on vegetables. He likes vegetables, just not in soup. So I devised a cream soup that we added American cheese to and pheasant, and then some sautéed assorted vegetables, and it makes a nice little blend for a nice creamy soup.
Is it anything like broccoli cheese soup?
That's
or-
the thing I wish I would have added was some broccoli, because I love broccoli and cheese, but I figured that this is a recipe that they chose me for, so I better comply.
From a delicate soup to a hearty stew, one with upland game and the other with venison, a good foil for the judges. The venison stew looks much different than the soup. It's dark, full of vegetables, big pieces. John Dubrow from Sterling Heights talks about it with enthusiasm. It must bring back fond memories of deer camp.
It's old-fashioned stew. It's just a typical, we do it for boat camp, and we just kind of throw everything that's fall vegetables into it and cook it over, try to cook it over an open fire. I prefer it that way, but didn't have the chance today, but I think it's pretty good. It's a combination of 2 or 3 recipes. I added stuff, eliminated stuff, and kind of horsed around with it a couple times, and this is the final product here, so.
Now, who likes it better, your deer camp buddies or your family?
Both, really. We tried up at gun season last year, and some of the guys weren't too crazy on the venison or whatever because they're city folks or whatever. But so I threw some regular beef in there just to satisfy them. But there's a venison is all the way.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, all the way.
You got the right crowd for it here.
Yeah, no, it's all the way. That's for sure.
A rookie takes on a seasoned winner in our recipe contest. Will it make any difference? Well, let's find out, starting with our certified executive chef.
They're both very good. Stew, very traditional with rutabaga, but I think I'm going to go with the pheasant cheese soup.
You think?
Let's do that.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay, the pheasant cheese soup. Now, Pat McGuire, I would bet. Well, no, go ahead. I think you're going to go.
Well,
for
what do you
the
wanna
stew.
bet?
You're going to go for the stew, except you left all your rutabagas.
My mother warned me about that one.
Is that right?
Yeah. I guess if I was a piece of bread and I had to sop up the last ounce, in a bowl. I guess I'd probably have to go with John's
You
Bow Camp.
did?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great the way he used the spices, and it's something I'd like definitely to eat at home.
But what is all this rutabaga left?
I don't like rutabagas.
Is that? And you're still voting for the recipe?
Yeah.
What would
yeah.
you put in there instead?
More potatoes.
More potatoes? Oh, okay. Now that's interesting. Now Garner, I don't know, he's sitting with the pheasant soup closer to him.
It's what you call dead even. I mean, both of these recipes are just absolutely wonderful recipes. The one thing I'm going to make my decision on based on what the seasoning did for the wild game. And this stew recipe is the finest stew recipe I have ever eaten. This did the venison justice, and give me all your beggies, buddy, because I want it.
He's got the rutabagas.
So,
okay,
I'd
goes
say-
for it.
John's Bow Camp venison stew.
And there's your rutabagas.
Thank you.
Okay, John McKenzie, you ate your rutabagas?
Yes, I did.
You have about as much left in each bowl?
I just wanted to show you here, Fred, look at the texture on this gravy. See how that just, and this one too? These are both done just, you can tell they took a lot of care preparing them. Nice and smooth. This is nice and creamy and light with the pheasant in it. It's got, the mushroom comes through, not overpowered with the cheese, not real heavy. But you know me, I'm a kind of a meat and potato guy. I like them hearty stew dishes, and I'm going to vote for the
Is that right?
John's Bow Camp.
No kidding. We got 3 of them for John's Bow Camp. What do I see here?
Okay, now that stew recipe we'll have to keep when we head for Bow Camp in 2 weeks. But I went with the cheese soup. It was great. And I'm glad you did it without the broccoli. I think broccoli, you have broccoli in too many dishes. This is very good without it.
Well, let me get around here to the contestants and congratulate you both. It was a tough fight.
Yes, it was. It was very
Isn't
interesting.
that something?
Yes.
Left
yeah,
of
I was very
rutabagas?
surprised. Very surprised. You know, I'm up against a champion here, and
Well, both of you are still champs. Congratulations. I mean, making the finals.
thank you.
Our distinguished panel of chefs, Kestelut, McGuire, and McKenzie, sorted through hundreds of recipe entries to come up with these finalists, which is why I say that all 10, the 4 you've seen and the 6 to go, are all winners in this cook-off. The chefs picked out another 30 dishes that they thought were strong contenders. These are the recipes you'll see each week through 1991 on our regular shows. Stay tuned because we have fish, small game, and venison recipes coming up as our Fish and Wild Game Cook-Off continues.